Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking. I'm here to show you one of the coolest, cutest little card games I've played in a long time. It's called Mine All Mine, and the theme of the game is that each person is running a mining operation in deep space, and you're mining moons and planets for resources. And basically, you get like a hand of cards, and you start off with 3, and then later as you play the game, you'll have less or more cards than 3, depending upon how many cards get used and what your score is. Quickly, what that means is that you get 3 cards to begin with. You don't have to play all 3 if you don't want to. After you play your cards, depending on how well you do that round, depending on score, the people with the lower scores will get more cards back in their hands, usually, than people that did really well. And when you get these cards, the cards themselves have spaceships on them, 3 different spaceships. Each card has 3 different spaceships and a special ability. And you can use the card for any of the spaceships or the special ability, depending on what you think you're going to want to use them for in that particular round. I'll explain that in greater detail when I show you how to play the game. Ultimately, the game is like really just fun because it's another one of those cool games that doesn't take a long time to learn. You dive into it right away. The only really confusing part of the game, honestly, is the decisions you have to make, because they're kind of tough as far as, you know, do I want to be really fast this round so I can, like, you know, be the first one to get to the planets or the moons so I can get their stuff? You know, do I want to have like a lot of firepower so I can blast my opponents and out of the sky and scare them off so I can get all the treasure myself? Stuff like that. And so it has a lot of cool little crevices and nooks that you have to kind of delve into and have to figure out. And plus, there's a lot of outthinking going on. You know, it's like, what is that guy going to play? What is that guy going to play? What is that girl going to play? You know, do I need to play better cards? Or do I want to save cards this round and play them next round? That kind of thing. So let me show you how to play the game, and then we'll come back here and I'll tell you exactly what I think of Mine All Mine. I always think of Daffy Duck in that one cartoon. You know, it's like, mine, it's all mine, it's all mine. Anyway, here we go. Okay, this is what you get with Mine All Mine. As I said, it is kind of a small, quick little card game. It shouldn't take you very long to play, and so I think one of the best things about the game is it's the fact that it has such a small number of components and a small number of cards. And this is meant to be, as I said, like kind of a traveling game as well, because you can use these clips. You'll be using them to keep your score and everything like that, but you'll also use them. You know, you can actually clip them on the card, and so then you don't have to actually have a table to play. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to actually show you with the table, and not like if I was in a car or something like that. I guess I could, I guess, go for a drive or something and play this, but I'm not going to do that right now. But anyway, so I did actually. This is like the scoring chart, and so you would actually, like, you know, put. As you score points, you just, you know, each person will put their clip on the point they're at. And, you know, you don't have to use these. These are what you get with the game because, as I said, the game is designed to be a game that you could play, you know, without a table. But anyway, so just, there you go. Now, you have these planet cards, and you'll notice that they say planet and, like, red planet or mint planet. I do like the mint planet. And on the back of these, it says orange moon and aqua moon. And so there's a moon and a planet on each side. Now, if you're playing with 2 people, you only use a planet card. If you're playing with 3 or 4 people, you play with both a moon and a planet. So since there's a front and a back, you just kind of have to shut your eyes and flip them around and you know, just kind of goof around and then pick your 2 cards you're going to use, put the other one on the side, and flap them down. And so we have, and put the planet first, and then the moon. So here we have aqua moon and brown planet. Now, the reason you flip them up, over, and under is because you'll only be using the top of it. You won't be using the ones on the bottom. So you flip it back and forth so you can kind of always have kind of a random generation of the cards that you're going to be using. Now, if you look at the cards up on top, that is the number of, like, resources that you can mine from these particular planets. So, like, if you're first, you get 2, second 1, third 3. 3, 1, 2 here. Now that's really important because of the fact that you're going to be given 3 cards that are going to be ships that you can choose from, and also there's also special abilities you can choose from. So there's, like, here, I'll show you one card, for example. So here's one card. You can see here's a special ability, shields. You can only force to flee if an opponent has an attack greater than your attack plus 5. If not, mine as though you were tied. Pretty good ability. So over here, you actually have this particular ship, and it is a tanker ship that has a speed of 1, an attack of 1, and a cargo of 4. Now, if we flip this over, we have a scout. It's very fast. Can't carry a lot of cargo. Doesn't have a lot of attack. And we flip it over. Here we get the destroyer. Not very fast, not a lot of cargo, but it can blast things out of the sky. So you have those things. Now what you'll do is, once again, whoever's, you know, will do like the whole flip and whatever. You're shuffling up. The flip doesn't really matter so much this, but each person will get 3 cards. I'm just going to take the top 3 cards. And so when it's your turn, you have to decide which one you want to use. So here's a shuttle, you know, speed. That's pretty good. What do we have over here? Oh, light warp, increase your speed by plus 5. 2, 3, 1. 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3. So you can see there's all these different rounds. Count your score as 10 less when determining the order in which ship cards are dealt for the next round. Basically, when there's cards that aren't being used, because you don't have to use all your cards in your turn. You can use up to 3, but you don't have to. And whatever cards get used get sent back out. And whoever's got like the lowest score will get more cards, basically. So, you know, we're going to look at all these abilities, and we noticed that, remember, if we looked over there, remember, like, you know, being a little slower actually works pretty well here, because being 3rd or 4th wouldn't be so bad. So maybe you want to take a slow one with the cargo, then add in maybe that one, because it's got pretty good attack. Also still got a lot of cargo, because you only score as many points as you have cargo. And then finally, let's see here. I like this one because it has some attack on it. Now, attack's important, obviously, because of the fact that if you are in the same spot as somebody, you're going to fight. And so who's got the higher attack wins. So if you play all 3 cards, you play them down, you total up the total value. So you have a speed of 4, you know, attack of 6, you have a cargo of 8. So you could score a possible 8 points. Now what happens is, and I'm not going to pick cards for everybody else here, just for just simplicity of showing how the game is played. If I was blue and like my speed of 4, like maybe my speed of 4 was the 4th best speed. Everybody else was faster than me. And so then green was faster, red was the fastest, and orange was the 2nd most fastest. So now what's going to happen is that red, it will get to mine those 2 as long as they have 2 cargo, and then they slide down to here. Now of these 2, they will then battle it out for that particular spot. Whoever's got the highest attack value of those 2 will defeat the other one and send them away. Now if they're tied in attack value, either because they're tied or because of a card, like Shield's card allows you to tie easier. Whoever's got the most speed will take the first one that's there, and then you'll switch back and forth. And so let's say, like, you know, orange has got more attack value, so red got their 2 points, but then they flee, and they lose, and they don't get any more for that round. So here we'll go ahead and put red on the 2 because they got those 2. Now orange, you know, for the sake of example, let's say they get that 1. And they get to here, and they're you know, they're tied, let's say, in attack value with green, and so they would then switch on, off and on. Now orange had the higher amount, so then they get the first one, so 2, and then green, you know, would get 1, and then orange would get 1. So orange got 3, and green got 1 in that situation. But then let's say now they both have they both slide down to here, and once again, for the sake of an argument, let's say, since they're tied, I have more attack value than either of those. So then they would scare them away, and then they would go. So then orange got 2 as well. So you'd put 2 there. And then green got 1. And so you go like that. And then I had a total of 8 cargo available. So I get the 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I get 6 points. And we go ahead and place that one right there. And that would be a good first round for me. And so then we would go ahead and we take these planet cards again, and we flip them around and set up the next round, so to speak. And there is a lot more going on, so let's just flip them in here. So Mint Planet, I like the Mint Planet, and ooh, the Gray Moon. And so now with the cards that we used, let's say, because I'm in the lead, I'll get the last one cards, even though I got 3. There's a really good chance now, like, let's say, like, these cards were used. And so then we'd start handing those out to everybody. And what's going to happen is that because of the fact that I actually am, as you can see here, leading, I'm not going to get many cards. And so that's one of those things that, once again, the really nice thing I like about the game is that you kind of have to weigh the available points that are going to be there for you versus, you know, do I want to use up all my cards at this juncture? Do I want to wait, or do I want to hold on to one? You know, and so I love those little decisions that this game does. So in this situation, we have like we had 7 cards that got used. I mean, this is probably not completely accurate, but let's just, here, I'll add 2 more. Here, let's see, we got 9 cards were used that particular round by the 4 people. And so what would happen is the person with the lowest score, green, gets 1. So we'd flip 1 over to green. And then orange and red were tied, so they get those. And then me, being blue, I'm the lead, so I get that over there. And then they go, and then, you know, so then they go, and then there's no cards left after all that's said and done. So I only got 1 more card for my turn. So now this turn, I'm probably not going to do as well. Maybe they'll jump ahead of me, and I'll have to probably end up playing my 1 card, and hopefully I'll do well enough that I'll be able to score some points. But you know, that's how it goes. So you have that wonderful little decision that I was referring to really opens up like the future turn of the game, if you will. That you have to think ahead. This isn't like, it's a simple game, but it's got a lot of like real interesting and tough choices you have to make as well. Well, anyway, let me talk more about that with my conclusion. I'll do that right now. All right, there you go. That's how you play mine, all mine, all mine. It's all mine. You get away from that. Okay, so there's one rule I forgot to mention when I showed you how to play the game. That if your speed is so fast that it's 4 or more greater than the next closest player, they go back. They have to skip a planet. So you're so fast, you get there and you get the first spot and the next spot before the other people get there, and they catch up. And that goes for anybody. So like if the first player is the super fast, they get the first spot, and they skip the next one. And then if the second player was so much more faster than the third and the fourth players, then the third and fourth players will have to skip a spot as well. So it's just something to keep in mind. Speed sometimes is awesome, and it's really helpful, and especially if like the really good high scoring planets are sitting there right away at the very beginning. The thing is about this game is that, like I said, it's quick and easy to teach, and you can kind of grasp the gameplay after playing it once. The added bonus to the fact that you can kind of take this with you wherever you want to go, and be able to just play it without a table is another selling point, beyond the fact that the game itself is just a lot of fun and is really challenging as well, especially after everybody kind of knows how to play the game. And like I said, that kind of group think, and that try to overthinking the overthinking, like he knows that I know that he knows that I know kind of thing. I enjoy that in the game. Plus, this has a lot of interaction, a lot of like bluffing, a lot of chutzpah going on, and I never really felt in any situation where I was like kind of forced to play a certain number of cards, or if I was ever kind of trapped into playing a certain way. A lot of times when you play games and they have like people's scores are much higher, and you just feel like, well, the only thing I can play is this. I never felt that playing this game. I always felt like I had a chance, and plus like the catch-up mechanic, which I do appreciate. I know some people don't, but I do like the fact that there's a lot to be said about like if you don't do well the first round, going through the second round and just kind of maybe sandbagging just a little bit so you can have a big hand of cards for the last round, so you can play a ton and you can really mop up the points, and you don't have to play 3 rounds. You can definitely play more if you want to. We've played, let's play 5-round games, see how that worked out, and it worked out just fine. I do think the game works great with 2 players, because you only have the 1 planet instead of a planet and a moon. I think it actually kind of shines in that regard, because then it's just like you against the other person, and trying to out-duel them, if you will. So for all those reasons, I really, if you're a fan of like the small portable card game that you can play anywhere you want, I highly recommend Mine, All Mine. So there you go. If you have any questions, please post those. I'd be glad to help you with those in any way that I can. As always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this review. And until next time, you have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.